Hi there, this is Patricia from patriciafenty.com, and today I have this really fun tutorial for these Crocheted Granny Square Slippers. This is using the hexagon pattern, and there are some patterns for these slippers available, but what I've done is I've customized this so that they fit better. The hexagon just gives you a regular square or L shape, so you end up with a pointy heel. If you have calves that are a little bit heavier, it's tight around the calf. So I've modified this to fit the foot better. Super easy to make. Really fun. I love these. They're so cute. And of course I'm using the Christmas colors because they're fun. It's acrylic yarn that I'm using. I would probably recommend using wool if you want a more durable slipper. But yeah, these are super fun. Let's get started. So I'm just using some acrylic yarn here. This is a number 4 medium weight yarn. I think this would be a great project to use a bunch of scrap yarn from. But I'm just doing the Christmas theme here. So I have, this is a Bernat Premium in Spring Green and Aran. And this is Loops and Threads Impeccable in Claret. But again, just use whatever you have on hand, or pick up something that you like for color combination. I would use at least 2 colors. I'm using 3. You can have some scissors, a darning needle, a 4mm G6 crochet hook, and optionally a couple of stitch markers. So we're doing the same stitch pattern as a regular granny square. We're doing sets of 3 double crochets, but for this we're going to start with a magic ring. And some people get confused over magic rings, but they're actually really quite easy to do. So you're going to lay your yarn over 3 fingers with your fingers facing up. Bring the yarn around the back of your fingers, bring it back to the bottom of the fingers, cross it over, hold that with your thumb, and flip that over and hold it with your finger. And then you're going to put your hook underneath the first strand, grab the second strand, pull it through, and then you're going to do a twist like this. And then kind of hold it together with your fingers like that. Snug that all up and do a chain 1 to snug that up. Then I like to spin it back the other way so the tail is over to the left. And what you can do is you can play that back, slow the video down and watch it a little bit slower, maybe go to 0.75 or something like that and watch that back. So that's the magic ring. So we're going to chain 2, and this will be our first double crochet. And I always start my 3 double crochet clusters with the middle double crochet. So we're only going to do 1 double crochet here. So yarn over, go into the ring, pull the yarn through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and do a chain 2. And then when we come around to the end, we'll finish our last double crochet of this cluster and join it in. And if you're new to crochet, I do have my beginner crochet series where you can learn all the basic stitches. So yarn over, we're going to do a set of 3 double crochets into the ring. And again, you can slow this down, go into settings, go to playback speed, and slow it down. So there's 3 double crochets, chain 2, and just sort of snug that over, and you can tighten up the loop a little bit so it's not so loosey-goosey. And we're going to do a total of 6 clusters of 3 double crochets with a chain 2 in between. So this is my third. So 2 and 3 double crochets and chain 2. So I'm going to do 3 more, and you'll do 3 more, and I will see you there. So 3 double crochets, chain 2. All right, so I've done my 6th cluster, and I've come around to the other side, I have my chain 2, and then I'll do my last double crochet, And this is the double crochet for the beginning cluster. And it's hard to see in this red. You'll be seeing it again in the lighter colors. But you've got your chain 1, your chain 2. You're going to go into the stitch just above that, which is actually the top of the second double crochet, and you'll do a slip stitch to finish off. Now, if you want to carry on with one color only, you can slip stitch over to this chain 2 space and then carry on with the stitch pattern. We're going to change colors, so I'm going to do chain 1 to fasten off. I just like to fasten off like that. Not everybody does, but snug that up. So then you have your magic ring. Flip this over, and you're just going to snug that up nice and tight. And when you darn in your tail ends, you're going to knot this. You're going to put a knot in and then darn in your tail ends. I don't know why people don't knot their magic rings, because if you don't, there's a really good chance it could come undone in time. But there you go, that's round 1. Now we'll carry on with round 2. Now to join on a new color, I'm doing the green. You're going to create a slip knot. And again, all these basics of crochet are in my beginner crochet series. You put the slip knot on the hook with the tail to the right and going into any chain 2 space. Put your hook into the chain 2 space, and we're going to join on with a slip stitch. So pull the yarn through, flip your tail over, and pull through the loop on your hook, and that's joining on the new color. So we're going to chain 2, and so now we're going to start to work corners. So in every chain 2 space we'll be working corners. So I'm just snugging that over a bit. So I'm going to do a double crochet. So again, this will be my 3rd double crochet for this first cluster, and we'll finish off with a double crochet snugged up to here for the last round. So chain 2, that'll be your corner. Snug this over, and we're going to do another set of 3 double crochets into that chain 2 space. So we're working a corner here. And again, if this is too fast, you can go into settings and slow it down. So set of 3 double crochets, chain 1, go over to the next corner. And what I do is I always crochet the tail in for part of the way anyway, so that when you darn it in, you can just darn in going in the opposite direction. So going over to that chain 2 space, you're going to work a set of 3 double crochets. I know the first round with the red color might have been a little bit hard to see, but you know, the stitches are all very much the same in that it's a set of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and a chain 1 in between along the straight sides. So you'll see that as we go. 2 and 3. So now I'll drop the tail back down, and I'll darn that in later in the opposite direction. Chain 1, and going over to the next chain 2 space, we're going to do the same thing. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1. And you're going to do that all the way around, working those sets of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2 into the chain 2 spaces. So go ahead and do that, and I will see you on the other side here. All right, so I've done 6 corners all together, and I've just done my last cluster here and my chain 1. And so then coming into this beginning cluster again, we're going to do the double crochet at the beginning of that, going into that next chain 2 space. And then here it's easier to see your chain 1 and chain 2. So in the top of this double crochet, going under both loops, we'll join there with a slip stitch. and then a chain one to fasten off, or you can slip stitch over to the next space if you want to stay all in one color. So you'll see it's going to be all wavy. That's exactly what you want. And the reason why I do the clusters that way is then your beginning chain two is hidden between two double crochets, and it makes for a really neat finish, and you can never see that that's your beginning round. So we'll go on to the cream color next. So we'll join the new color on again by creating a slip knot. Like that. Put that on your hook, tail to the right. And going into any chain two space, join on with a slip stitch. Flip your tail over, pull that through, and do a chain two. And kind of squish that over in your chain two space. Get the tail ready to crochet in if you like to do that. So we'll do a double crochet. So that's the beginning cluster done. Chain two, and then another set of 3 double crochets into that corner space. One, two, and 3, and then a chain one. And now you're beginning to work into the chain one spaces, and all these clusters will go along the long side, the flat side. And so you just do one set of 3 double crochets into all the chain one spaces. So for this round we just have one chain one, and then you'll be at a corner again, so you'll work a corner in the corner. So that's a set of 3 double crochets, and a chain two, and another set of 3 double crochets. So every corner you work a corner into, and then along the straight edge we just do a set of 3 double crochets with a chain one in between. So there's 3, and then chain one coming out of the corner, a set of 3 double crochets, and a chain one, and then going into another corner. So you're going to work that all the way around. Each corner will be 3 double crochet, chain two, 3 double crochet, chain one, and then 3 double crochet, chain one into the chain one spaces. So do that all the way around, and we'll see you at the end. All right, here I am at the end of the 3rd round. I've done my last set of 3 double crochets, chain one, and then I'm coming into this beginning corner cluster, and we'll finish that cluster with the double crochet that will sandwich the beginning chain two. So there's your chain one, chain two, and just go into that top, what looks like the 3rd stitch, with a slip stitch, and then fasten off in whatever manner you like. And there you go. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to repeat round 3, and in these chain one spaces you'll be doing your sets of just 3 double crochet, chain one, and then doing your corners as usual. And the hexagon will get bigger and bigger. So go ahead, I'm going to do 4 more rounds, and then we will do the final shaping round. Welcome back. So I've done a total of 7 rounds, so that was 4 additional rounds, and got this nice wonky shaped hexagon. And so at this point you want this motif to fit in a certain way, so it folds over into an L shape. So there you've got your basic slipper shape now. And you want to put stitch markers in where the heel would be, because we're going to shape this so it's not such a sharp heel. We're going to start at the top and sew a cuff, and then the toe will be gathered. So this is the round before we do all the shaping, and you want this round to be at least 1.5 inches shorter than the length of your foot. So my foot length is 9 inches, and this is like 7 and almost a half, maybe 7 1/3. The final round, of course, will add more length. And with a slipper, you don't want it to fit exactly the length of the foot because the fabric slips. So here I have a total of 7 rounds before doing the final shaping round. For a youth, you could do 6 rounds. For a lady's medium, oh yeah, and so like I'm a 6, 6.5 ladies. So ladies medium, you may do a total of 8 rounds before the finishing round, a large 9 rounds before the finishing round. But that's the basic measurement for that. And if you want to know foot sizes in relationship to the inches, you can just Google that. There's all kinds of charts on Google that say, you know, size 6 is 9 inches or however many centimeters. So now we'll do the finishing round. So starting at what will be the cuff part. So here's your heel, here's your toe. We're going to start in this top corner here. And we're going to join our yarn on with a slip knot as before. So this top section here, we're going to add extra stitches in here. And so if you have a larger calf, which I do, we're going to add some extra stitches in here. If you have thin calves, then you don't have to add in as many stitches, and I'll kind of explain that as we go. So I'm going to start in the corner here and join on as before, as if we're doing a corner. Join on with a slip stitch and the chain 2 as before. For my corners, I'm going to do sets of 4 double crochet chain 2 to give me just some more width across the top. So I'm going to do 2 double crochets, and then of course when I come around at the end here, it'll I'll add the extra stitch in there. So chain 2 and then a set of 4 double crochets. So if your calves are, you know, sort of a normal size or slender, then you don't have to do these extra 2 stitches in the corner. Whoops, we're not going to do a chain. You would just do your 3 double crochet clusters. So then as we move across the top here, we're going to do sort of a solid stitch. And as you come out of this corner, there's the top of the first double crochet, second double crochet, third double crochet, and your chain. And we are going to skip that first double crochet, go under both loops of that first double crochet and do a double crochet. And then go into the next stitch, going under both loops and do a double crochet. And then when you come into the chain 1 space, you're going to do at least 3 double crochets. And in my case, I'm going to do 4 double crochets because again, I'm wanting to get that extra width around the calf. And 4 double crochets. Skip that first double crochet and do a double crochet in the next stitch and a double crochet in the next stitch. And then going into your chain 1 space, you'll do either 3 or 4 double crochets, 2 double crochets in the top of that, 3 or 4, 2 double crochets. So carry on and I'll see you over at that corner. So I've done all the way along the top here, and then when you come into this corner, you're going to make sure to catch the top 2 stitches in this cluster of 3 double crochets, and then I did 4 double crochets, chain 2, 4 double crochets, and then you're just going to carry on down this side with the regular 3 double crochet chain 1s and all the chain 1 spaces, and I'll see you at this corner. This will be the heel, so I'll see you there. All right, so as you come down to the corner here, that will be the heel. In this chain 2 space, you're just going to do 1 set of 3 double crochets with a chain 1, and this is going to create a nice little rounded corner for the heel instead of that sharp corner. Chain 1, and then just carry on working around your motif with the pattern as before, with a set of 3 double crochets, chain 1 in each chain 1 space. And then when you get down to this corner here, this is going to be the toe, and you'll just do the regular pattern, set of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1, and then down to this corner here, and again same thing, it'll be your toe, so just 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1. And then when you come around here, if you've marked this, this is going to be your heel again. So in this corner, you're just going to do one set of 3 double crochets, chain 1 to match the other side. And then you'll just carry on up this side of the motif, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, here we are at the end of the round. I've just done my last cluster of 3 double crochet, chain 1, and then coming into this beginning corner, I'm going to do my final double crochet. So for me, that'll be 4 double crochets in this cluster. For you, it might only be 3. So you do it in the same way. Now, if you like, you can join on with a slip stitch as you normally do. But for the final rounds, I always like to do an invisible finish. So we're going to cut the yarn a little bit longer. You're going to do double the length of one of the sides plus a little bit. We're going to use that to sew that all together. So once you've cut your tail, you're going to pull that through, and this is going to be a really long tail. And then I'm going to put that on the needle. And then to do an invisible finish, you come in not into this first stitch, but the one behind that, and you go in under both loops of that V stitch, pull the yarn through, snug that up, and you're kind of laying this mock stitch on top of your chain stitch there. And then you come in, here's the top of the V stitch that this yarn is coming out of. You go in between those 2 stitches into the back, pick up that back bump stitch, and pull that through and snug that up, and that makes a really nice finish there. So then what you're going to do is you're going to work your thread up to the top corner here and come out at your first chain 2 space right there. Pull the yarn through. And then you're going to bring your top cuff together. Oh, wrong side. Yeah, wrong sides together. But before you do that, you probably want to darn in all your tail ends. But I'll just show you here. You're going to bring that together. And then working down the back of your slipper here, you're going to just simply whip stitch. You want to line your clusters up here. Make sure they're nice and lined up. And you're going to whip stitch all the way down around your heel, and you'll see the heel has just the set of 3 double crochets, and then all the way down to this corner here, and you'll stop there. And I do have a tutorial on how to whip stitch. You can actually sew this any way you like. I'll put a link for the video for the whip stitch down below, but you're just going to stitch that edge together. When you're sewing, make sure you're lining up your clusters as you go. You're going to make sure everything lines up to keep it all nice and even. So go ahead and sew that all together. Darn in your tail end, sew that together, and I'll meet you at the toe of the slipper. So once you get down here with your stitching, whatever stitching you decide to use, do one more little stitch here to sort of secure it, because we're going to gather now. So there we go. So that just gives us a little snug kind of stitch. And let's see, going in the same direction as your yarn is naturally going, we're going to put a gathering stitch in here. So I'm going to start in this first stitch here, going into the front loop, just picking up the front loop and pull the yarn through. Then you're going to skip a stitch and go in through the front loop. Skip a stitch in through the front loop. And you're going to do that all the way around. All right, and here we are back at the beginning, and so I'm just going to go right into that stitch there. So we've got a nice gathering stitch all the way around. So then all you're going to do is just pull on that and gather your toe up, just like that. And then you're going to slip your hand in the inside of the slipper, and then just drop your needle down into the inside of the slipper and pull that through. And then we're going to flip it to the wrong side. There we go. And so you want to snug that up nice and snug. And then going across what would be, here's the top of the slipper. You're just going to run a couple of, maybe 3 stitches across lengthwise across that toe opening there, just to close the toe up. And just to snug that up, put a third one in here. And the toe will be closed nice and tight. And you're running that this way. And then all you do is knot that off and darn in your tail end, and you're all done. And of course you're going to do that on the other slipper. So do a nice little knot here and darn in the tail end. And when I darn in the tail end, I like to go in one direction with the yarn, and then I come back in the other direction. Oopsie, like that. And then just snip off your thread, turn it right side out, and you're all done. The one slipper. Of course, you're going to have to repeat that again for the other slipper. And let's see how I'm in. Oh yeah. So see, you can see what a nice shape that makes for the heel. And at the top here, this sort of flares out. Again, I added a lot of stitches there to give me lots of room around the calf, because my calves are a little bit skookum. And there we go. And that makes for a really nice fitting slipper. So this would be, you know, a size 6. And I will put them on so you can see how they look. But aren't they so cute? Here, I've got the other one here. Got the other one. Very sweet. So I'll put them on so you can see. All right, here we go, all done. These are just the cutest slippers, and I do love the way that I modified the pattern so that they fit really, really nice. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.